such an asshole.
We have an unenviable situation, or one that I find unenviable, and I'm glad I'm not in, but it's got to be one a lot of Christian dudes are in. And it never dawned on me because I'm not Christian. I don't think about these things, but I'm like, oh crap, you're right. Here's a problem. I didn't know what to title it, but I hope the title does it justice. Because let's read about this young man's situation. Uh, Video request: Steven Crowder's fiasco has proven Christianity to be a terrible barrier to divorce. There is no, it does no, it's not. Here's why I still care about getting married. I'm a 24-year-old horn dog. You're honest. Premarital sex is a sin. You're honest. There are some seemingly very godly women at my church that might not divorce. Might. It, honest to God, for a lot of you Christian men, especially in the West, it's like, step on the landmine. The Lord will protect you. Oh, yeah, the Lord has a plan. Oh, sorry, she took half your assets. For there is no dating, and we meet with an elder. And I asked you, here's a problem. Here's a problem. You don't follow instructions. Now, this is going to F you up. I asked you, what cult of Christianity are you in where you're not allowed to date? And you didn't email me back. You paid me. And you further didn't follow the instructions on notifying that you paid me. I got a notification from PayPal, but not you. So you're in a, I don't know what else to call it. It sounds like a cult or an odd sect of Christianity where there's no dating and you got to meet with an elder. Is this Mormon? Is this Mennonite? I'm not familiar with Mennonite or Amish. This is a tight-knit church with a history of commitment and two-parent households. Good. Caveats. One, they stay connected through gossip. I presume you mean the girls do. Yes, they do. And that's bad. Two, the blue pill simps are worshiping women there. Bad. Done. No. See, here, if I wish people would just follow my instructions. On one hand, you're telling me this is very traditional. Sounds very old school, very orthodox. You got to meet with an elder. You got to get permission. No premarital sex. You're following the rules. Okay, this sounds like pretty serious. But then, are they doing the cool, edgy thing to get girls in to donate money to church? Hey, girls, you men ought to man up and marry those sluts. They forgave themselves and okay, it's another man's kid, but the Lord, and here's how we're going to take this. I'm going to throw a curveball on the scriptures to make it seem like you got to go and take care. Are women being worshiped there? No sex should actually be worshiped in. I'm only a limited preacher's kid. But did feminism infect your branch of Christianity, your church of Christianity? Because if you did, done. I don't care what they say afterwards. If they have let feminism infect the church or any politics, any secular politics or popularity fads, that has infected your church, whatever your church says is null and void. And I'd say that well is poisoned. So I wish I had more details. I'm left to speculate. Though for the larger audience, I think that's a very real problem they face, where they may be very penitent, serious Christians, but gosh, I don't know what branch of Christianity, especially in the United States, hasn't just gone full woke. And you got to get the girls, and you got to make more Christian baby. You men got to marry. What about her with their 3 other kids from the 5 different fathers? Well, the Lord forgave her. You better. Oh, no. No. Did you celebrate the guy? Did you? What does it say in the Bible? Don't we have a rule book here somewhere? I could have swore I saw a rule book. It's black, about yay thick, red brim, got a cross on it. Isn't that our rule book? What is the rule? A lot of rules in that rule book. Some entire chapters of that book, nothing but rules. What does the rules say? Blue simps are worshiping women there and they don't even realize it. As every church prioritizes women. Okay, so this is your church. Done. That's not a church then. That is a Christian, that is a feminist organization of a Christian flavor and variety. And there's nothing wrong with having Christian feminist groups, but not at the church. No, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Everything else might have the veneer and the painting of a traditional, somewhat strict, Orthodox, serious Christian church, except this, so we're going to worship women. No, wait, hold it. Hold it. What's with all these rules? And now, no. And I would find another church within that religion or sect. If you're serious about the religion, which it seems like if you're going to give up sex, I'm impressed with you, sir. You're serious. You're sincere. But once they start bringing in politics of any variety, usually it's leftist, not always, but usually. No, Christ is no longer there. They have another God. Request, give me the bull and bear case for marriage, 2 cents. Read 2 of your books, numbers in the menu. Love what you do and keep sending us reminders. Theoretically, I shouldn't have to contact you. You're right. And that's when you said that, that's where I came up with the title of the video. It is, if the church wants you men to start manning, if Dennis Prager, although synagogue Jewish, if these religious elder men, if the churches and the synagogues and the mosques and everything, all these religious institutions want you men, you better man up and start marrying. You better start asking out these girls. Well, then it's the church's responsibility, I would say, to present godly women, to present marriageable women, according to the Bible or the Torah or the Quran, whatever the rules are in your rule book. And again, I didn't go to divinity school. I did not go to seminary, but I'm pretty sure single moms and premarital sex obviously is a no-no, and attitude and lip, and ultimately having a false God before God himself, in this case, politics of the feminist variety, but whatever. No, that's not a Christian. That's a poser. And I saw this in the church long ago. Dude, the percentage, now maybe in your group it sounds a little bit more old school, so maybe it's a higher percentage, but there ain't more than 5% of people in any church on any given Sunday that are actually real Christians. 95% of them don't believe it. They go in there for social reasons, or they want to get laid or bang. Right? And that's fine. Your divorce rates are just the same. No one takes it seriously because no one's really a Christian. There's very few authentic Christians in all churches within the United States. They're using it for ulterior purposes. And because most of the people in the church are fake, they're not Christian. They're not going to abide by the rules. They're secular. They're going to abide by the secular rules, which, as you've seen, is, the church or not. Dennis Prager on his 3rd marriage. Okay, Dennis, keep telling us. Step on a 4th landmine, you say? All right. You should have. There should not be a shadow of doubt that the gossip. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm more of a libertarian, independent type of, guy who I want an independent, more libertarian type of gal. But if this is going to be Christian, a Christian household, there's rules. First, you submit to God, submit to the husband. That's not me making that up. That's not my opinion. That's in the rule book. And these girls are acting like teenage girls and gossiping. They're singing female praises. Feminine? No, because now what you're doing, I don't care that you're in it. Okay, all men, all Christian men, lend me your ears, and those of you in mosques and synagogues, maybe to a little bit lesser extent, but lend me your ears. It doesn't matter that you are physically in a place of worship or a religious building. That does not matter. It is what is in the heart of the women, right? So you could be in a rainbow flag Christian church, and there could be a gal who doesn't believe in it. She just, I don't know, traveling, could be authentic Christian, right? But you could be in the most old school, fire and brimstone, Wisconsin Synod, goose stepping. Did they like a lot of goose stepping in the Wisconsin Synod? Lutheran church, along with the crappy coffee and the ham sandwiches in the basement. You could have that level, footloose level of Christian, all right? And the girl you're talking to, like legit just blew somebody earlier that night or the night before. And sometimes it's very apparent and obvious. Okay, there's a pride flag. Again, I am not against gay people. I am pro-gay. It's contradictory. It's like, okay, that's a dead branch of Christianity. You're not following the rule book. You're just changing the rules. Anything that promotes woke politics, ideology, feminism, any kind of politics. You know, even if they say we gotta vote for Donald Trump. Well, hang on. What does that have to do with the guy on the cross dying for our sins? Please tell me that. And because that individual woman is secular, not Christian, you have to deal with the fact that you have to operate by secular rules. And the rock on the hard place, I think a lot of Christian men find themselves in, is you're getting a lot of pressure from this assumes you actually want to be good. You want to be a good Christian. You would also logically like to maybe get married and have some kids. Oh, heaven forbid. And you're in this church, quotation, and they're like, look at all these Christian girls. And you're like, well, wait a minute, hang on. Did you see Kevin Costner? Did you see Scottie Pippen? Did you see Jeff Bezos? Did you see Billy Gates? Did you see the other guys? Did you see Tom freaking Brady? Tom freaking Brady. What guarantee it? You're doing all this feminist stuff, and we maybe even talk about Jesus, but only after we talk about how valuable vagina is and how oppressed it is at the same. It's great yet oppressed at the same time. Very confusing. And you're saying I got to marry into this? Hold on. And that's as far as my logic takes me. You're not dealing with real Christian women. It is the church's responsibility, along with the parents. You know, they were raised a good Christian family. All right, you want us to marry good Christian women? You show us the good Christian women. And I've dated Christian women. I was going back a little bit, and they were not a single difference between them and secular girls. And I've said this before, the secular girls were more ethical and principled, not religious. They're more ethical and principled. The majority, not the plurality, the majority of Christian girls I dated, just like secular girls, would flake at the same rates, lie about showing up, all this other stuff. But the majority of them would use the religion to lord over you, like it was a tool of power. Not that they could control what you do, but, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm Christian. Oh, no, you're just comparing you to Christ. And then you find out, oh, God, this one gal, we banged, and she started crying and begging God for forgiveness. What in the actual F? Another gal we banged, and she's like, hey, do you want to go to mass with me? I'm like, didn't know you're a Catholic. What was it? Oh, this one gal, I told the story before, where she got impregnated by an heir to a multi-billion dollar company. He didn't want to have anything to do with her. I think he paid her off. And then she found Jesus. Because she couldn't admit that she screwed up and ruined a kid's life. Then, oh, you're the religion that says, and nothing is my fault if I believe to the guy nailed to a plank of wood? Sign me up for that. And we'd pray before every freaking meal. I'm like, oh. And then she'd like, just, we're not having sex. No. Then I find out we're not having sex. We're not having sex. No, we're not. No premarital sex. No. gonna find out that she banged a buddy of mine on the date scene. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a gal there. No, I'm not saying like, oh wait, that girl? I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, we went out. Oh, we did a little bit more than going out. I'm like, what? I, the and so the point I'm bringing up, modern day Christian, big quotes. My empirical experience with them has they have been more intellectually dishonest than the secular control group, the main population within the United States. And it is absolutely not fair to you Christian men to beat you over the head with the Bible while they're singing feminist praises and kick Jesus out of the church long ago just so they can be popular, gets butts in the pews in the seats or butts in the pews, and there's more money donation and your pastor gets a little bit more money. Are you is it a church or is it a club? If it's a club, get the F out. I don't care how many crucifixes they put up. Right? But if it's a church, like, hey, here's this thing it says about women submitting to their husband. Here's what it says about a quarrelsome wife. Where's that? I don't care if it's not popular today. I don't care if it's rejected by secular society. That's in the rule book. I'm not saying it's the only thing men have but I'm pointing that out where if it's all rah, you go girl, you men better marry up these sluts. No. Not only no, because it's no longer a house of God, and no, because they're not following the rules, but you are going to be playing with you're playing with the secular rules, no matter how much the girl says she's Christian or not, no matter how much that church says they're Christian or not. They're secular. It's even worse than secular because they're lying right off the bat. And since you are now in the secular world or playing by secular rules or the secular environment, however you want to call it, you are facing that same 45% divorce rate and the same 14% of marriages, 86 percentages of marriages fail either through divorce or being miserable. So somebody do the math that are married and miserable or not happy. And so, one, it's the church's responsibility and the family and the community to raise godly, marriageable women. That's not your response. It's not your responsibility for you Christian men you can't raise them and not your kids. All right. And you don't have to go and take the gamble. You definitely do not have to take the risk or the gamble because some fraud of a pastor who's licking feminist vagina in every sermon, just you take a sermon, you squeeze it all like, holy feminist vagina juice, Batman. There might be 1 or 2 words of Christ in this 80,000 word sermon you just gave us. You don't have to know. No, I'd be running, find another church. And then, so that's what I would say for you guys is for you Christian men out there where the Christian community is banging on you to go get married. Meanwhile, every celebrity Christian is getting divorced. I'd first ask, okay, well then where's the godly women you're supposed to be raising here? And absent that, I'm not Christian. I'm agnostic. But I'm sure somewhere in the Bible, throughout the history of Bible history, there were several people or groups of people where it just wasn't their time. I don't know. Some people were, I want to get married. It's not going to happen to you. Why are you going to? I'm married, but King David wants my wife, and I'm going to get sent to the front lines and killed by whoever the hell we're fighting this chapter of the Bible. The Hittites? Which one? The Babylonian? Who we find today? The Canaanites. Nah, we beat them when we first got here. Remember the grapes? Oh, yeah. Where was I? But throughout Christian history, some people just, it's not in the cards, God here, if you believe in God, God probably has another plan for you. And maybe God has another plan for most Christian men here today. It's just not your time. I've said this to everyone in my audience outside the context of religion. It's just not your time. Right? The Industrial Revolution came, the information technology revolution came. We now can make livings on white collar work. You don't have to be slaving away in the field or in an army. And now women can earn their own money. Also, we have democracy, and we've given women the right to vote. And disproportionately, women have voted in a welfare state. So many men did too. And so even if women don't work and don't make enough money, now the government takes care of them as a backup insurance or in totality. And men are now obsolete. And I would say from a secular viewpoint, women no longer need men. They don't. And if you look at their choices and decisions they make, I hate to say, well, this I could say with 100% affirmation. Most women don't want most guys. So you could say that most guys don't want most women as well. But most women, I would say, are only going to settle for a very small niche, top niche, which we estimate based on best figures to be around 4.5% of men. And if you're not in that top 4.5% of men, you will either not get married, which they forecast half the population won't, or you could get married and divorce, or you'll be miserable because the girl will just not be perfectly happy with that. And I think that transcends religious lines. I think culture determines women's decisions more than it does whatever religion they were brought up, certainly Christianity. And I think it's just a time or an epoch or whatever where a lot of Christian men are just going to have to say, yeah, I guess I'm not getting married. But key and critical is this, guys, those aren't Christian women. They're not. The most 95% of the people in your church aren't Christian. And maybe in yours, it seems a little bit more old school. So maybe 60%. And it is especially so if there are pro-feminists, we got to promote the women. If it's politics, that is definitely not a house of God. And you leave and get the hell out. And so this is going to be test. Job had a little harder than you, right, Putty? Oh, my penis isn't getting wet. All right. Job had boils on his penis. All right. Yours isn't getting wet. He had boils. All right. Maybe not specifically there, but he had boils. Right? And a bunch of other horrible things happened to Job. Right. You're just doing without girls for a while. I understand you're horny. It's great you are following your religion. You're a true Christian. And I would go find and have a relationship with Christ. I would be going online, find real paths. Christ is on the internet. He ain't in these churches no more. Not most of them anyway. And pray to God, and hopefully God will provide you one. I'm not saying if there's nice, cute lady who's modest and etiquette and decorum, pretty, and you ask her on a date, and you have see, you can't date because you're in some kind of cult. There's something wrong with that about no dating. What do you mean no dating? You're going to choose for me? Get the F out of here. But I'll tell you this, you're in no position at that church to be looking to get married or hooked up by an elder. Right? And for most of you other Christian men out there, and to a lesser extent, religious people in the United States and the West in general, I would seriously assess the veracity of your house of worship, your church, synagogue, or mosque, and ask if politics has infected your institution. And if it has, that institution is a dead branch of your religion, and you must find a real one in order to find, if you are a true Christian or religious person, to find God, generally speaking, the woman that he has intended for you. But I'm trying to play it on Christian mode. I don't really believe God is going to pick something for you. I'm like, you got, I like how you listen to Kevin say, I like all you religious dudes, but especially the Christians, because you are so heavily propagandized to be pussies. You really got to play by secular rules. You have to look at everything through a secular lens. And because you're the ones most at risk. The other religions, there's still an element of traditionalism. And we follow our rule book over here. So there you go. All right. Let's go to super chats if we got some. The Joshua Project, 20 generous dollars. It is idol worship if men in churches put women. Is it idol worship before churches put women before God? Yeah. Well, anything you put before God. Look, I went to parochial school. They made us learn a bunch of BS. Baal was before God. You like video games, like, if you like video games more than God, well, technically that's right. Anything before God, that's idol worship. All right, especially if there's nothing there. They made Abraham kill Isaac, and then God stopped him at the last minute. I just want to make sure you love me more than Isaac. I'm a really great God. All right. Yeah, it is idol worship. And why do churches seem to hate single young men? Because they're not Christian. It's a club under the false Christian banner. Okay, if they hate young single men, it's probably because they're leftists who happen to be of a Christian variety. Right? And their true religion is leftism, whatever its variant. And leftism does not like single men. They do not like single men. So and man, I wouldn't, I'm older, so I got the hindsight. But if I was in a church today and I saw, I looked at all the gals and they were, secular and practice, not Christians. And here's this preacher, you men gotta go and women are crap, blah, blah, blah. I would pull them aside, say, when the fuck are you going to start talking about the value of men? Or you're just going to shut up about the women, talk about the guy on the cross? When are you going to do that? And you'll find out. You'll find out. But like I said, I don't think any of you should be going to church. You should be online with podcast pastors, which I still have the domain name. Read the Bible. Want to know what God said? It's in the Bible. Honest to God, these pastors, you don't need them now. Do they even preach from the Bible anymore? You don't, there's some good pastors online. Kevin C, $2. Cappy for Pope and President. I don't want to be Pope. I don't want to be Pope. I want to get laid. I don't want to be president either. I don't want to lead people. I want you all to keep screwing up so you piss away your lives. That's all a politician is a babysitter of his constituents. You know that, right? I want to babysit people. Oh, you really shouldn't commit crime. No, commit crime. Go ahead, commit crime in San Francisco and poop in the streets too. Everyone deserves that. Paracelsus Underach, $10. The church has completely failed and has compromised the religious doctrine and principles. The Catholics of the Vatican helped 1940 National Socialists of Germany flee to South America after World War II. Yeah, okay, maybe. I don't know. Not me. I wasn't around. Sorry, so there you go. All right, so link below, a couple books you mentioned that you read. The Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI of the Pursuit of Women. For you guys out there, for you boys, Christian, well, everyone, if you're within these United States of America or the West in general, you really need to understand on a secular level, with no bias from your religion, you need to understand how much women have an interest in you today and what your chances are of having a successful relationship with women. Because I know you got your religious guy yelling at you to do so. I'm the other guy. I'm your actuary. And we had an actuary go over these numbers. I'm like, hold it. I know your pastor is saying go into this casino and bet your entire life on red, but let me tell you your statistical chances. All right. So please read that, the Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI in the Pursuit of Women. And then also there's the menu. Whether ordained by God or by modern cultural and political consequences of the time, half of you are you younger folk. If you're under 30, I think by 2030, half of you young people are not going to be married ever, as by forecasts. You got to figure out what else to do. Now, what's great is if you are religious, I wrote about this in the book, The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex. It's a menu of things to do in life to give life purpose and meaning. And if you have religion, if you have a relationship with your God, that is great. And I envy you. And that's something you should focus on. But then I also say things like hiking, motorcycle riding, and all this other stuff. But all of you, regardless of your religion, all you men, your faiths are going to be tested. They're absolutely were, because pussy ain't on the table no more. It's true. It's not obedient, nice, kind, sweet, thin pussy. It's going to be belligerent, loudmouth, fat, feminist, divorce-prone pussy. Maybe there'll be a huge application, a huge surge in monk applications. Maybe. I don't know. But there you go. All right, that's it. See you guys later. Toodles.